So after firing the truck up for the first time, doing some basic tuning to get the timing going and everything like that, I had a mechanical oil gauge sitting under the hood, and I noticed it went from 70 pounds right to zero, 1 minute me looking at it to the other. So definitely something wrong with the oil pressure in the engine. So this is the original oil pump that I swapped out for a 340 oil pump, which is, it's a typical swap. Gives higher capacity, better oil pressure, more consistent, everything like that. Now there's some discussion online of the shaft length and the tip where it engages the distributor there. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to drop the oil pan, which involves taking the exhaust off, and then I'll take the oil pump that's in there out, and I'll have to measure from this. We'll first see if the tip is broken off, and then measure from this face here to the tip to see if there's any variance in the length here, to see why I went right, and it wasn't a gradual decline, it was right from 70 pounds to zero, just right from one moment to the next. So unfortunately I'll have to drop everything out and take a look and see what's going on. I should probably drain the oil first. Alright, so I just drained the oil here. There's a little touch of silveriness on the top here. A little bit of metal in the bottom of the oil there. Trying to pick up with this magnet. Hopefully it's just the initial startup bullshit that's in there. This is the drain plug, the magnet on it, so there's a bit of dark. Might be metallic, might just be that little bit of initial startup sludge, the assembly lube and everything. But hopefully it's not too bad inside. Hopefully the oil pump's okay. Hopefully everything's alright inside there. I'm gonna drop the oil pan and find out. Alright, so here's the inside of the oil pan here. There's a little bit of sludge in the bottom. There's some metal filings, a little bit silvery looking stuff down here. So it's not looking too great. I hope that's just the initial startup assembly lube, etc. coming into play here. So I'm going to pull the oil pump and see what's going on inside of there. Stay tuned. Alright, so you can see up in there, that's the bottom of the distributor in that hole. And it looks like there's a little bit of damage to it, as if the shaft and the oil pump weren't lined up properly, or as if it wasn't the right length and just kind of torn up. So I'm going to measure between the oil pump housing here and their plate and the distributor shaft, and compare that to the shaft length, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so this is my assembly right here. So we got the intermediate shaft that's driven by the cam gear, the distributor, and the oil pump. So right now, I did a lot of measurements here, and I'll post a link to this in case anyone needs it if they're ever going through this also. But long story short, based on all these measurements, the distributor is only engaging the intermediate shaft by approximately 50 thou, 100 thou. And the oil pump is engaging the bottom of the intermediate shaft by approximately the same amount. So that you can see that here. That's the distributor. That's all the measurements there. And then the oil pump here with the intermediate shaft. It's all approximately the same. Now, I sent all this to Hotheads, where this is where the oil pump came from, and I can't remember if I got the distributor from there. And they said that the factory engagement on between the distributor and the distributor and the intermediate shaft, and the intermediate shaft and the oil pump is approximately 100 thou. So that's only this much. That's barely getting past the chamfer on the distributor. That's all they want there. So so that's all they want right there. That's it. Apparently that's enough, but that doesn't seem like enough to me, and obviously it's not enough because of the issue that I'm having with this oil pressure here and the bottom of this drive gear getting torn up. So I'm going to increase the engagement of all these to approximately 1/4 inch. So about that much there. So that'll bring it into there. It'll leave enough room for play, for heat expansion, for everything like that. And so I'm going to take out the pin, take out this pin. I'm going to press the shaft. So I'm going to take out this pin, press the shaft up so it engages the distributor better, because this is where it sits here. And then for the oil pump, same thing, take out the pin and press the shaft up into it, and you'll re-drill the holes and set the pin back in to get the full engagement. So for the intermediate shaft here, I will probably need to drill a new hole through both, because the hole, if I'm only going up 150 thou, the hole, I won't be able to make a new hole. So I'll drill a new hole on this side here. For the oil pump, I don't think it really matters. I'll probably just drill a small hole like that. Anyhow, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be remeasuring everything again, just to make sure that all this is going to work out. This is definitely a measure 5 times and drill once, press once, fit once, because this is pretty complicated. Okay, so I popped out the pin here and pressed out the intermediate shaft so that it's sticking about 200 thou above the top of the gear. So now I'm going to install it back in the engine, and I'll measure up from the bottom of the block there to see how much I need to press the oil pump drive shaft upwards so it has the proper engagement into the bottom of the oil pump shaft. And once that's done, I'll be ready to fire this engine up again and keep tuning. So very excited about that. First, I'm going to make something to manually drive the gear so I can simulate oil pressure and see what happens there before I start it up, before I go that far. I'll explain that later. All right, so I just remeasured the bottom to where the bottom of the intermediate shaft is there. I got those measurements. So now I'm going to be pressing the oil pump drive shaft up approximately 1/4 of an inch so that I'll leave some clearance for the expansion and contraction. Okay, so I pressed the shaft out, so now I'm just going to turn it 90 degrees there so that when I drill the new hole through, it's not going to interfere with the old hole here. All right, so great news. This modification that I did to the oil pump worked out great. I got the oil pan back on, and I used a tool that I made to spin up the oil pump to simulate oil pressure. Everything was working properly. So in the next episode, I installed a new Edelbrock 600 CFM carburetor, which solved all of the rough idle issues that I was having and got the truck running perfectly. With regard to the metal in the oil pan, I'm just going to monitor it over the next, I'm going to change the oil really often while it's breaking in, and if I still see issues coming up, I'll pull the engine and check out the bearings. I might still pull the engine over the winter, I'm not too sure yet, but right now I'm just going to get it on the road, see how it reacts, and see if I did any damage by running without oil pressure for that minute or so. So thank you very much for watching. I'm just so excited this mod worked out and that this engine got saved. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy.